Well, I'm here with, how do you prefer, you Gerard or?
Gerard.
Gerard,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I'm here with Gerard from the World Preservation Foundation, a relatively new NGO working on climate change. Gerard, tell me a little bit about why the need for another NGO. What was the gap in the market that you decided you needed to fill?
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. The gap, there's a lot of NGOs, as you said, but the talk is cheap, and as we've seen, if all countries were to fulfil their commitments given at the last COP, the world will be 4 degrees warmer than it is today, and I think we're dangerously close to tipping points right now. So what the World Preservation Foundation is about is connecting a few dots, and there's a few proposals that are on the table that are very readily connectable that we want to draw people's attention to. The first is a UNEP and World Meteorological Organization proposal to limit the short-lived climate forces. They see that in the next 20 years, limiting the short-lived climate forces will actually slow global warming by half a degree. Half a degree is very important, given that emissions just keep going up. The second proposal is a very interesting one, put out a couple of years ago by the Netherlands Environmental Assessment Agency, and that is the cheapest means of mitigating, of fixing the climate, the warming, and that is to grow grass and trees. And they had a range of proposals. One end of the range was to turn over all grazing lands back to trees, savannas and grasslands, thereby pulling down the carbon. What the World Preservation Foundation is doing is drawing attention to those two solutions and pulling them together. Both of them are connected. The greatest source of short-lived climate forces is animal agriculture, and the largest area on the planet, in fact, about 25 to 30% of the land area on the planet is given over to grazing pastures for grazing animals. That's mostly red meat. So connecting those two dots, the greatest source of methane, the greatest source of black carbon, which is fire, open fire for maintaining pastures and deforestation, that's a big driver of that is agriculture, animal agriculture. And the greatest source of tropospheric ozone, which is another of the short-lived climate forces, is methane. And to control methane, what's the greatest source? Animal agriculture. So there's a few dots there that we're connecting, and it's a very powerful thing. If we focus on animal agriculture, we can reduce warming in the short term by at least half a degree. We're saying more, but also in the longer term, we have the cheapest means. It's 1/5 the cost of anything else that's on the table. So we're saying these are two critical things for humanity. 4 degrees is just going to be catastrophic for the planet.
It makes sense theoretically sitting here in a treeless, grassless environment at the moment in Durban. How do you actually go about implementing that on the ground?
Yes.
How do you convince farmers that they're taking the wrong course and there is another cost-effective way to save the planet?
That's a really good question. In fact, Durban's a very good place to start, because here in Durban we've got one of the world's leading producers of alternative protein sources. They use plant protein and make meat substitutes, really. Highly successful. They're exporting all around the world. But to return to your question, the farmers are not the issue. See, farmers are the most adaptable people on the planet, and they roll with the droughts, with the floods, with the markets. What farmers respond to is consumer demand, and the proposal that we're pointing to is not something that governments can legislate over. It's not something you can get agreement to here at COP. It's something that you and I can do the next time we have a meal, the next time we go shopping. So it places the power back with the people.
So you have to convince the people to change their diets, basically.
Absolutely, yeah.
And how do you do that?
Oh, well,
how have we got?
Have you tried the fries, alternative foods that you can buy here? Maybe not.
In South Africa, no, but
Yeah, fries are great food.
But it starts there, really. So it starts in the supermarket, at the dinner table, and okay. Yeah.
It's not only the climate impact. The other dots that we're connecting. We just did a major publication on public health, and communicable diseases are the biggest killer right now, and part of that's a lifestyle disease, part of that is diet, big part. And also there's a few other civilization busters that are out there. We've crossed the boundaries on several of these, like reactive nitrogen, climate change, biodiversity crisis, and we're close to a number of others. And all of these things can be substantially reduced or helped through how we do our agriculture. And it's not just us saying this. A lot of United Nations bodies, EU is following through. It's pretty clear that we must change our diet. With another 2 billion people coming, we just can't continue to consume the way we have.